have very high standards as regards quality, and I always question myself when I'm translating because I don't want to translate something with a bad structure, for example, or with bad grammar. So I always check what I do. I use a lot of reference works because I like to be sure that the grammar is correct, that the spelling is correct, the capitalization or the punctuation are correct, because they're very complicated in Spanish. Even if they don't seem so, they are. So I always have to double check with my books so I know that what I'm doing is okay. Then I also work with computer assisted translation tools. So I have my own memory, which saves everything that I do. It's in the memory. I have my own glossaries, and then I work with quality assurance tools. Some are embedded in the tool that I use to translate, and there is another tool that I use afterwards to check the quality, to check for numbers, for example, if the number is different or if I forgot to include a number, for acronyms, for repeated words, stuff like that. So it's a slow process in a way, but I've already included that in my workflow, so it's just part of the job. I use the memory, I check the spelling with words and with the translation tool that I'm using. I use QA tools, and sometimes I also check with my colleague who also works for Adastra. When I'm not sure about what I did, I usually tell her, hey, can you read this? Because I don't like how I did it. How would you have done it? So it's like a constant checking at every step, so I make sure that it is okay. And then when I prepare the final file, I check with the original to see if everything looks okay and to see if there is anything that I missed. I'm obsessed with quality because a number in a phone number or a number in a form or anything can actually make a difference in a person's life, and it has to be correct. And also, I think that everybody has the right to have access to correct information, and that is part of quality. I don't care if the person wants to understand the difference between a capital letter or a lowercase, because I know if that lowercase should not be there, then I'm making a mistake and it's not correct, and the person has the right to see it written in a correct way. Even if they don't know if it's correct or not, I think they do have the right to that, and they have the right to access information in a way that they can understand it and in a way that will help them achieve what they have to do. So it can make a difference, and it's also a right. I try to get up early, especially now that's summer here, so I can use the daylight. I prepare my mate, which is a hot beverage in Argentina, and it's like your coffee in a way, but I can't work without mate. After I get up and I prepare my mate and I go outside and talk to my plants, I come inside and I turn on the computer. So if I have a project that I have to work on, I open my CAT tool, which is the tool that I use to translate, and I start working on the project. If I have to start a project, I usually have to prepare the files in the tool and do the pre-translation step, because I do that myself. I don't know if the other people do that, but I do that with my projects. And then I start working on the post-editing, which is actually, it's a bit like translating, but you have to work what a machine has translated before, and it helps speed the process, and it helps us work faster and work better in a way, because since you already have a translation made by the computer, then you can take your time to actually see if you're saying what you want to say, if the meaning is the same, and to check vocabulary and stuff like that. And let's say that the project is short, so I work for an hour or two, and when I finish the project, I usually do something else. I don't know, I go outside, have some mate, play with my dog or stuff like that, so I can clear my head. And then I go back to the project, read everything that I did again, and check to edit my own work, which is really important. And once I see that the file in Spanish looks like the file in English, and that all the information is there, and I checked spelling, I checked for double spaces, I checked for everything that I can think of in a final file, then I send it. I'm not usually happy with what I do because I always feel like I could do a little bit better, but when I'm satisfied that I did my best, then I send it. That's kind of the day. I try to work in the morning so I can have the afternoon free. Now, as I told you, we're in summer, so my idea is to move my working hours earlier. So at 3, I can go to the swimming pool and relax. So that's really good because you can actually stop. And if I had to do something outside, or if I had to go to the bank, for example, then I can say, okay, I'm working until 10, then I go do what I have to do, and then I come back and I continue working. So the day that I told you about is typical, but not so typical because it can change. What's always there is the mate, the translation tool, and well, the post editing, but that's kind of the day. I can't think of one project, but I do remember Googling to find some terminology and to find some reference material for a project that I was working on. And I found my translation online. And I was like, wow, something I did is really out there. And it was really, really good because I delivered the final project and I knew that somebody would read it and publish it, but I never expected to see it posted online. And that was really good. Some other time I worked with a special project on social services. I really felt that I was helping that person at the moment. And that was also memorable because I remember working with it at the moment and saying, okay, I need to get this right because this girl needs my translation and she needs me to be accurate. And the first one was like, wow, it's so cool to have my stuff online. And the second one was like, okay, what I do really has an impact. So those were two memorable moments, actually.